Well, we've done mock draft 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. Now, Gary, it's time for mock draft 4.0. Doing it a little different. Instead of the top 10, we're doing 5 rounds of the Bengals, and we're starting off with the bang, Gary. At number 5, you're neither Team Chase or Sewell. You got Kyle Pitts.
This is interesting because I think he's probably not going to be there. But if he is, you got to take him because I think he has a chance to be a Hall of Fame tight end, and that's a position of weakness for them. They're probably going to end up with Sewell, but he could go 4 too.
Penny Sewell, I get the Jamar Chase enticement of it all. The guy can stop anybody rushing at him. That's what you need. That's what you need for Joe Burrow. Do not overthink it. Take Penny Sewell. There are a lot of experts out there who don't think that good offensive tackles are going to be available later, so take the best one we have now. So that's our first round. Now going on to the second, you have the wide receiver, Elijah Moore.
This is one of the reasons I didn't take Jamar Chase. I love this guy. Now, the problem is he's a slot, which Tyler Boyd is, and that's kind of what T. Higgins is, but he's so amazing, and he could really play anywhere. Another reason I took Elijah Moore is Zach Taylor loves the jet sweep. The jet sweep with Elijah Moore as opposed to Alex Erickson, going to be a big difference.
Lane Kiffin loves the jet sweep as well, so he's going to be well versed in that. I have WR-OLE from Penn State. This is more drafting on potential. He hasn't been playing football all that long, picked it up his junior year of high school. Doesn't have the production on the field, but the measurables are there. The explosiveness, the size. If you're able to get a guy like him to go opposite Sam Hubbard, I don't think they have a guy like him on the roster. You need to get after the quarterback. Protect your quarterback, get after the quarterback. Moving on to round 3.
Okay, now this is pick 69. Now, this is if Pro Football Focus is accurate. He could go in the first round, definitely in the second round. If gigantic Walker Little is there, who was the best tackle in the country before he got an injury and then opted out, he's a monster. I think that would be a no-brainer pick if he's there.
You're going the offensive outside on the offensive tackle. The interior offensive line, Quinn Meinerz from Wisconsin Whitewater. This guy's been shooting up draft boards. He had a really good Senior Bowl. Usually the Senior Bowl is a good indicator of what guys can do at the next level. He was dominant. I think if you could get him on the 3rd round as a backup center, move him to guard, they sorely need that as well. Moving on to round number 4.
I think you only picked him because he looks like our 11 o'clock producer, Anthony DeRunda.
Maybe that's a little – maybe. Perhaps. I don't know.
All right, now, offensive line, I still got Kendrick Green from Illinois. Now I'll go a little bit interior. Projected he'd be there. This is another guy who could go in the 3rd round. But if he's there, that's who I'm taking because now you've really solidified your offensive line.
You went slot receiver in round 2 with Elijah Moore. Dwayne Eskridge, if you can get him in the 4th round, this guy is explosive. He's smaller, but he's what the Bengals don't have. They need that deep threat. He's a deep threat. He's going to be able to take the top off the defense, what you thought John Ross was going to be, but obviously was not. Dwayne Eskridge out of Western Michigan, he's my pick for round 4 at 111.
Number 149, there's another one. If he's there, and he's a monster. Imagine putting him and little, not so little, and just, what a great name, too. Stone Forsythe. They rarely got to the Gators quarterback this year.
I mean, he was destined to be a lineman, wasn't he? Stone Forsythe.
Right. I think that would be a tremendous pick if he's in the 5th round. I think this would, if those 5 guys were there when they picked, I'd be ecstatic.
If you're Joe Burrow, you're pretty happy about that, right? All right, I'm doubling up on the receivers here. I think Josh Palmer from Tennessee. He's a guy that, again, doesn't have a ton of production. But if you follow Tennessee football over the last few years, you understand why. Their quarterbacks haven't been all that great. Program's kind of been fire. Anyway, Josh Palmer there in the 5th round. I think he brings a lot. He averages over 10 yards a catch in his career. I think he could be a little bit of a downfield threat, maybe give you some depth at the wide receiver position. So those are our 5 rounds. Of course, neither of us are going to actually pick the guys, but that's what we think in our 2 cents.